Hey, do you remember Eugenia Cooney? It's been a few months since one of YouTube's most mysterious personalities just vanished off the platform after a string of health concerns led her to taking a break. So, is she okay? There's been some speculation, only a few hundred videos. And while many capped this opportunity for the sake of views, there are few that actually understood the implications or struggle that went behind what they were actually talking about. See, what if I told you that there were actually millions of Eugenia Cooneys out there? And what if I were to tell you that not only are there millions of Eugenia Cooneys, but I'm one of them? Now, having over 1.5 million subscribers, you could say Eugenia had a little bit of influence. And the influence comes with an effect, something that I like to call the Eugenia Cooney Effect. Maybe you've come across the term thinspiration, a popular hashtag on various social media, part of the pro-ana or pro-anorexia community, in which there are countless forums, groups, you name it, they got it, dedicated to promoting the more aesthetic side of having an eating disorder. And while, most of us would say that there's nothing particularly aesthetically pleasing about having any type of this going on, yeah, that's me. See, things like body dysmorphia aren't really a disorder at all. No, it's a lifestyle. A lifestyle where I used to run up and down the stairs because I forgot something, just to burn a few extra calories. I'd even do an extra 40 minutes on the Stairmaster just to make sure I could get my calorie burn going. From personal experience, I can tell you that this lifestyle gets old pretty fast. You're probably wondering though, Ryan, what does this have to do with Eugenia Cooney? Well, for years, Eugenia, while never actually promoting any ideas of pro-anorexia or thinspiration, whether she knew it or not, she was being used as a symbol for communities like these. Someone with influence to show that, hey, maybe this look is for me. It was the Eugenia Cooney Effect. Even though I'm a guy, and statistically you could say that it affects less men than women, or does it? I was influenced too. For me, it was about achieving physical perfection, the most muscular body I could have at the lowest body fat possible. And I went insane trying to capture that goal. Now, with that being said, I want to say there's nothing inherently wrong with the idea of weight loss for health. It's when weight loss becomes more about your health and more of an obsession over body image that truly it becomes a problem. When your entire life becomes centered around food and the pursuit of something that is impossible to achieve. But this problem, it goes beyond just one extremely popular internet cosplayer. We live in a world of extremely skewed societal norms. In fact, out of the possible 5 to 10 million people affected in the US alone by body dysmorphia, 2.5% are women and 2.2% of those are adult men. And let me know down in the comments if you've ever had a problem with food or body image. So nowadays, with the power of social media, it's much easier to find people with a similar mindset than probably ever before. And while that can be a great tool for recovery, there is a darker side, riddled with rationalizing the irrational. I'm sure you've seen, a celebrity's fad diet or two. Maybe a juice cleanse that you go on for 30 days. Or hey, Kim K's diet lollipop, now available in grape with a hint of denial. And see, that's where a lot of these problems manifest. Denial.
So this is you.
Yeah.
I think that's Zac Efron from Baywatch.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I want to look like.
So for you, it really wasn't about losing weight per se. What was driving you though?
I really just wanted to be physically more fit than I was. It was never even about losing weight. I just wanted to be more cut, kind of like the people you see in the movies.
Like Zac Efron.
Like Zac Efron.
What were you doing to try to achieve this, I guess, impossible goal?
Well, I studied a lot of nutrition. I was taking nutrition classes in college, and I was reading a lot of things online from like bodybuilding.com and a bunch of stuff like that. And I really just ended up cutting out carbs because that's what I was reading to do if you wanted to get aesthetically fit. Eventually, it didn't lead at all to where I wanted to be.
So what else were you trying to do to achieve the perfect body? It wasn't just carbs.
I was going to the gym probably like an hour a day, and then I would get home and I would run on the treadmill for like another hour, constantly be trying to move. I would never sit down. You'd never see me sit down at all throughout the day. I'd maybe sit down at night when I was going to bed.
So really, it was fear that was driving you, right?
Yeah, I guess you could say it was. Have you ever been afraid to take a test? Like, imagine it's your final exam. Your entire grade rides on this, but there's more than that. You know that if you fail this test, your parents are gonna eat you alive. Literally. Well, for someone like Eugenia Cooney or myself, we have a similar but different fear. Instead of fearing judgment from just our parents, we fear judgment from any person of value, say your classmates, your friends, even your favorite celebrity. But most importantly, we fear an idea. In today's world, the pressure doesn't just come from other people. Now it can come in the form of an app. You might not even notice the subtle pressure it has on you. Enter MyFitnessPal. Now this isn't a sponsor. I wish. Rather, it's actually a fantastic app that can help you track your calories to achieve your fitness goals. But what this app doesn't show you is the countless number of individuals that are using it to make sure that they eat next to nothing. And like me, they want to keep it that way.
You want any carrots?
Oh no, I can't fit that into my calories for today. So.
I'm eating carrots, which is pretty healthy, and I know I'm not going to get fat from carrot. For you, there's one carrot, and the app is different.
For someone who has body dysmorphia or has gone through anorexia, someone like me, if I do not have it in my phone, and for someone that's trying to keep their calories as low as possible, even the minuscule amount of calories in a carrot, I would not even touch that from a mile away. I'm sure you've heard of the famous Silicon Valley, home of such places as Facebook, Apple, and that other stuff. But did you know Silicon Valley is actually promoting an unhealthy eating habit using apps? While they can be used to count calories for healthy weight loss, these apps actually exert a more subtle pressure on people to stay thin. In places like Silicon Valley, they've actually changed the phrases like fad dieting or starvation diets to something a little more scientific sounding, like biohacking, which in reality is just a new way of promoting unhealthy eating in Silicon Valley geek speak. How are they defending this? Let's ask the CEO. Well, you would think that after 7 days of not eating, you would be totally distracted and hunting for food. But at around the 2 or 3 day mark, hunger tapers off as ketone levels are elevating. See, you're feeding your brain and body with an alternative fuel source. Yeah, you're eating yourself. Biohacking.
So when you're at the peak of your anorexia and you read quotes like this, how did that affect you?
Well, I mean, some would call it a peak, some would call it a depression. But when I would see quotes like this, when I was actively searching for information, to me, that would only provoke that irrational thought in my brain to keep doing it and maybe even take on one of these fad diets as an extreme and make it a lifestyle. For someone who does have body dysmorphia, it promotes the continuation of an irrational, dangerous mindset.
So now, thankfully, you are fully recovered, but when you were at your low point, what was like the trigger that actually got you to realize there was a problem and I need to get through this and recover?
I think for me, I was about 79 pounds and I was going to college at the time. I was taking classes in digital media and we were filming.
You said 79 pounds?
79 pounds. I was probably like right before they would hospitalize you, and we were filming a scene for one of my classes, and it required me to jump off about a foot ledge to jump out of frame. So I got up on the ledge, which within itself was a difficult endeavor, and I jumped off it and I physically could not handle my own weight hitting the ground, and I actually collapsed and like cut up my face. And that was kind of the biggest trigger to me that I knew, like, okay, something's terribly wrong if you can't take a foot jump.
You actually had that thought at that point that, oh, something's wrong.
That was the moment I knew I needed to turn this around or it was going to be the end of me.
Also told me that you got banned from the gym.
Yeah, I was a gym fanatic, and like for a lot of people that can be a really good thing, they can manage it. But for me, I was going there so much, and they eventually saw that I was such low weight that they basically said, we cannot have you here because you are a liability, and if you get hurt, we cannot have that on our hands. And that was a subtle trigger, but it didn't deter me from wanting to burn calories. I actually kept going at that point.
So if you're somebody with a problem, you're somebody watching this video, what is the thing you need to listen to identify that you really have a problem?
I think what it comes down to, and I've said this several times in my other Eugenia Cooney videos, is that for someone like me or someone like Eugenia Cooney, you need to have the willingness to change. Because I knew I had a problem. Like, I knew it in my head that this was not good for me. But the fear at the back of your head, you literally feel like you're a person within another person. Your real conscious is stuck, floating in the cosmos of your brain, and you can't control your actions. So if you're someone out there that is really struggling with this problem, you need to dig deep down inside of you and think about, what in life do you really care about? Is what you're doing to yourself worth it? Because for me, I realized, you know what? I don't want to spend every day of my life living in fear and let that fear control me for the rest of my life, that I never get to do the things that I really wanted to do. When you feel alone, it makes it much more difficult to create any change. So knowing that you are not alone, that we are one in millions of other people that are going through this problem, Eugenia Cooney isn't alone. Knowing that can help you take that first little step to actually trying to talk to somebody else about it. And maybe that'll be the trigger that you need to finally move forward with your recovery. If you've ever gone through any of this, or you're going through this currently, I would love to know your story. Make sure to leave a comment down below. Remember, I'm Ryan and this is Eric, and we'll see you in the next video.